What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Dwayne, and I'm back for another video for you today. Yes, another video today. I know, it's been a while, but I had some stuff to do. I'm back on the prowl now, and I'm late. But today we're going to be talking about Eric DeCosta's end of the year press conference. Eric DeCosta, it took way too long to have this press conference, and it was well weighted for me, in my opinion, and most fans alike. So let's get to it, man. Today we're gonna be talking about. I got some topics that I'm gonna be talking about, breaking down and stuff like that. That I've illustrated, the takeaways that I got from it, and I'm gonna be breaking down each one of them. And at the end, I'm gonna just give you the overall sum up of what I think about the press conference at the end. All right, let's get to it. First things first, man. Hey, Eric DeCosta, man. You got a good job here your first 3 years, man. You've been doing good. It haven't fallen off the rails yet, but it's gotten there. So, hey, let's just give him a big ups for that one. Give him a big ups for that one. Give him a big up. As a matter of fact, kids, give him a no and give him a no. All right. So, first thing first, man. My biggest takeaways from Eric DeCosta's end of the year press conference. Everybody already know Lamar's contract and having cap room to eat his 5th year option. So basically, I think they should get the deal done immediately. Like, for them, it don't seem like a priority to get it done because he could play on the 5-year, $23 million slotted contract for this year. But I think they should get it done right now, like quick and ASAP, so that when free agency start, we can have a lot of stuff to a lot of money to move with, so that as though we can go out there and sign some big name free agents and probably sign a couple people back that we want to bring back, whether it was defense, offense, stuff like that. I think Lamar's biggest thing with his contract will be him not having a agent and him basically being independent. Everybody know his mom is his agent. And in my opinion, like I said, it's kind of hurting him because it's like you've had an agent, you would get all these endorsements and all this extra money and all this other stuff. And I just think that he's like, he's not lowballing himself because he know his worth, and we all know his worth. But it's just he needs to come to a decision where it's like, I need to hire an agent because I think he's missing out on a lot of endorsements, like I just said, and it's taken away from the more money he can be obtaining with himself if he just hired an agent and just tell an agent, or agent tell him, oh, just take the 5 or 10% off the top and then the rest is his. Because like, look at people like Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, and like Kyler Murray and people like that got agents and stuff like that, and they with the big time endorsements and all the big time money because they out there doing endorsement deals because their agent set it up for him. And that's where a lot of extra money can come in for him, where he can do endorsements when he, like in the offseason, he can do endorsements. Because I haven't seen Lamar yet in a big endorsement. The only big endorsement I saw him in was the Oakley endorsement, where he was showing off the little sunglasses or whatever. And like I said, I think that's pretty cool because that's just something small for him to start off with. But that's just my opinion. But I just think they need to get the deal done. Just find out where his limitations are as contract wise and just go from there, man. Like I said, I understand Eric DeCosta and them said that they working at his pace, but Eric DeCosta need to be in the back of his mind, like, I need to get this done before free agency so I can sign some free agent players, like in my opinion, like I stated in one of my videos previously, a Tyrann Matthews to play in the back end, so you need ball playmakers. Yeah, man, that's what I'm going to say about that. Building an O-line is a huge priority. That is the number one thing that I came up with, and it will be the number one priority in my list. Via the draft, whether it's the draft, free agency, or like the cut market where like players get cut like after the draft and stuff like that. I think when they come to it, they should be like, okay, we want to build an offensive line so that as though Lamar can sustain this long-term success playing instead of him playing like the game, like I think he played like 10 games this year, 12 games this year, and we did pretty good with him at the helm playing them 10 games. But after he got hurt the Browns game, it was like, now let's, we got to build, even though it was a dying need all year round because Ronnie Stanley got hurt. We didn't have a consistent guard. We was shuffling like Tyree Phillips and Cologne throughout the throughout the line, just to name a few, throughout the line all year long. And it was like we need to find linemen, stable linemen like in the draft this year, in my opinion, in the draft, so that though we get it done. O-line, Ronnie Stanley, he needs to get healthy. I mean, I understand things happen, and it's like I think the Ravens kind of like lowballed the fans to thinking that Ronnie Stanley was ready to come back last year when he really wasn't, because he played that one game, well, basically 2 quarters, and it was like, what the hell is this? Because it wasn't it. And Ronnie Stanley wasn't Ronnie Stanley when he came out week 1, because training camp, it was like, okay, he was moving well. He was out there after, like, I think it was like 6 months of him having his surgery on his ankle that he had when he messed his ankle up last year. And like I said, I just think you need to go out there and hopefully find a backup plan for center, because you don't know if Bradley Bozeman will be back. I want Bradley Bozeman back, but I mean it's not going to be in the Ravens realm after he tests his market to see what he's worth on the market. I don't think the Ravens are willing to pay or compete with other teams trying to pay for Bradley Bozeman, where they can, like they normally do, go out and find a bargain on a center. Like my opinion, like a Ryan Jensen, that's a prime example, because he was here in Baltimore and he's a free agent this year, and I don't think he's going back to Tampa Bay. And I think Ryan Jensen will be another viable fit here back in Baltimore, because not saying he knows the system, but he knows John Harbaugh. He knows DeCosta. DeCosta been here when he was here. He knows a little bit about Ozzie Newsome. He knows a little bit, and Ryan Jensen can be that tough man up front. And he's willing to fight for you, i.e. when Joe Flacco got hit by Kiko Alonso in the Miami Dolphins game a couple years back, and he was ready to tear Kiko Alonso's head off his shoulders, because he hurt his quarterback. And we need somebody like that to protect Lamar. When, like, we saw, as a Ravens fan, we didn't see a lot of Lamar getting a lot of roughing the passer, or not necessarily roughness. We need somebody to come behind Lamar. Not saying nobody else in the locker room is doing it, but come behind Lamar and fight for him. And Ryan Jensen can be that dude. And Ryan Jensen has Super Bowl pedigree, where he won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2 years ago when they beat Kansas City. Them signing, they need the right guard, and Zeitler is going to be there next year. So, I mean, we got that solidified. You just need to get the left guard and the left tackle prioritized, because Villanueva should be a cut cap casualty coming into next year. He should not be on his roster as of next year. I'm going to say that. A lot of Ravens fans will tell you that he should not be here next year, because it just didn't look good. And it was evident on why Pittsburgh didn't want to pay him low market value or the veteran minimum to come back and play in Pittsburgh, and it showed. So that's all I gotta say on the offensive line. And like I said, whether that's building your offensive line through the draft, I'm okay with that, because development will be a huge part. But I think that should come with a little bit of like veteran leadership, at the left tackle. They were talking about picking up Hollywood's 5th-year option. Hollywood has been inconsistent, as most would say, and I agree with that, because he has had times where he dropped the ball in critical moments. He didn't show up in big moments. And also, like stated in previous videos, when he's not getting the ball enough, it's like he fades away out of the blue, and it's like, where's Hollywood at this certain amount? I mean, at this extent, where's Hollywood when you need him? And we need a player like that. We need Hollywood to be consistent, because we drafted him in the first round a few years back. We need him to be that number one like that first round draft pick. Not saying he, like I said and earlier, he's not a number one receiver here in Baltimore. I think that goes to Rashad Bateman, but I think he needs to be a player where it's like, I need to find a way to get open and get yak and get the yards needed for him to continue what he was doing at the beginning of the season when he was with Lamar. Because in the second half of the season, it was like Lamar, my buddy, which is his buddy. I understand that. My buddy not here, so I'm not gonna play, and because like I'm not gonna play up to where I see it, because my buddy's not here, and that's not fair to the other players around you, because it's like they see your body language is off. Their body language going to deteriorate from you, and be like, oh, if he not gonna act this way, well, let me act this way, and he shouldn't be that way. And that's why I think Bateman did a good job of coming in after he came back from being hurt and picked up some of the slack in the second half of the season where Lamar got hurt, because it was like he caught passes, he got the yak, he was getting the big first down yardage where he was like a possession receiver, moving the chains. And we needed 3 yards, we needed like a hitch route for him. He would get open, catch the ball, and get down. And we need that from Hollywood. And I'm not mad at them picking up the option, because just give Hollywood a chance, because we need another one. I mean, because he's going to be due for another breakout season when we get Lamar healthy and we get him back to where he was and like that. The next bullet point is expect Marcus Peters back. They talked about, John Harbaugh talked about it. They want Marcus Peters back. They want Marcus Peters to come back, and he will be back, because he will be fully recovered from that injury that he had in the training camp. Because, mind you, his injury happened in training camp off a non-contact injury, and his recovery is looking like it's coming along pretty good. During the season, you saw him in the little pool, working out, doing the little therapy exercises and stuff like that, trying to get himself right. I don't know what he's doing now, but I think he should be still going to therapy, getting himself ready for the season, because Marlon Humphrey needed that. Even though Marlon Humphreys didn't play up to par himself, but Marlon Humphreys needs the sidekick where he can be like, okay, I can play slot, and Marcus Peters can be that outside guy, shutting off a side. Not saying he is a shutdown, but shutting down a side of the field where he can, make plays and do other stuff, so Marlon Humphrey won't be as being that guy and that picked on guy as he was this year. Another thing about Marcus Peters, man, we need that dog in him again, man. Like 2 years ago, when we picked him up from the Rams, he brought that dog mentality. He came, first game in Seattle, he picked Russell Wilson off a pick six. Everybody was happy for him. He played with his chest out, as a Ravens should play, man. And I'm gonna speak for a lot of Ravens fans when I say this, but I think Ravens fans love Marcus Peters because he defines what play like a Raven really means. And he really does, man. He's not afraid. Like I just spoke for Ryan Jensen, why I want him back in Baltimore. But that's why Marcus Peters, because he bring that dog. He'll fight for you, man. Whether it's physically and mentally, or he'll just go out there and just have your back no matter what, man. Whether you know him as a person or as a fan or, personally, he'll fight for you. And I love that about Marcus Peters, man. And Marcus Peters need to continue to keep that here in Baltimore. And that's why I said I love the fact that they would love to bring Marcus Peters back. Now, another thing on the flip side of Marcus Peters, I think he should take a minor pay cut, because he'll be if he take like a pay cut, he'll be like a $10 million cap or something like that. And I think he should save up a lot of money on the back end, so that as though we can go out and get some players on the defensive side to help him and Marlon Humphreys. In the secondary, get I'm gonna keep bringing it up, a Tyrann Matthews, or bring back like a Deshaun Elliott on a cheap to bring back to help him out in the back end, because they were pretty formidable pieces that we needed on the defense, and they weren't there. Because mind you, Deshaun Elliott got hurt in the middle of the season, and Marcus Peters got hurt as well in the beginning of the season, and that's why I said I'm happy for Marcus Peters being back. Which brings me to my next point. Need more turnovers in the secondary. Hey, like I just said, man, I think they should spend, like I said, Marcus Peters restructure. They like it talks of them cutting Tavon Young and people like that, and getting turnovers on the back end. Bringing in like a Stephon Gilmore, a J.C. Jackson, from what I'm hearing, and bringing playmakers on defense, so that as though you can bring back the turnover mentality that we had a few years back when Marlon Humphrey was leading the league and forced fumbles. They was comparing him to Peanut Tillman from Chicago. We had a famous name here, a Fruit Punch, which is still formidable here in Baltimore, and I still want to keep calling on that because he can still do that, but he really couldn't do that last year because he poor tackling and stuff like that. Yeah, man. So if you get like a player like that where you can a playmaking safety, you do stuff like that, man. And my last point of this video, man, trade back coming. There's been, over the years, there has been the Ravens moving out of that spot where they traded back or traded like out of the first round and got more picks and helped them. I don't think at 14 you should trade. I don't think at 14 you should trade away from 14, because if you trade away from 14, you can probably be looking at your next breakout playmaking star, or whether it's offense or defense. And I think that 14th pick should come from the defensive side of the ball, whether it's Jobo from Michigan or like a safety, like from what I was hearing, the Gardner dude from Cincinnati. But like I said, you should not trade out of that 14th slot, because that can be your next all-pro player. That can be your next building piece for you moving to that next level to get to the Super Bowl and getting over the hump and winning the Super Bowl. Not just getting there, but winning the Super Bowl as well. Because look at all of the teams, like the Bengals. Look at them. They had a top 5 pick over the past 6 years, and it got them to the Super Bowl, man, because they built within. They got a couple free agents, and they did what they were supposed to do, man. I think the Ravens can do the same thing, where we just bring in players from at 14 to help us win now, because like I stated, Ravens are in win now mode, because we need to be in win now mode, because we are always a Super Bowl contender. We always have the great coaches in John Harbaugh, and and he can lead a troop. He can lead his troops to a Super Bowl, which he did in 2012 when he led the Ravens to a Super Bowl. And I think we can do that again here. So, like I said, stay at 14 and get the player best available player at 14. And that's my opinion. And, hey, DeCosta, man, like I said in the beginning of the video, you did a good job. I just want to see you keep at what you're doing. Keep playing chess and not checkers, because at the end of the day, this is a business and things happen. You can't get mad, and I just want things to happen, man. Hey, so I hope y'all enjoyed this video, man. Make sure you drop a like, you comment, and subscribe to this channel, man. Hit that bell right next to the subscribe button so that you can get notifications whenever I drop a video, man. See y'all later. See ya.